All right, back live here at Star News Studios. Thank you for joining us tonight. We're going to have an interesting program tonight. You definitely want to stay tuned. Janice, thank you for coming down.
Thank you for having me again.
I mean, it's not like you're coming from Danville. You drive 6 hours to come to Henry County.
I do. I had a meeting this morning that
That-
I came for.
And that's why we
with-
have you back, and we appreciate you being here.
It was to be with Commonwealth's attorney, Miss Bipperman. And at the last minute, she was not in the meeting. And it was an interesting meeting because of the fact that we were talking about protective orders, a protective order that's out there. And it's becoming more and more obvious the damage these protective orders can do to a family, to a man, to a woman. I mean, they are necessary. People need to be believed. But there are also times when people abuse the system.
Mm-hmm.
And the Commonwealth attorney who did talk to me, her assistant, made it clear they have the ability to stop when they've made a mistake, but they won't.
They don't. They just let it continue.
They let it continue. They let the,
Wow.
basically the slippery slope.
Well, now, for people that don't know, Mrs. Vipperman, the Commonwealth attorney,
Correct.
was former assistant attorney in the city of Martinsville
Oh, okay.
under, well, she's now a judge. So people will probably recognize her there.
Uh-huh.
And she went to Patrick County and became elected official. But it was under Ms. Ziegler, who was former Commonwealth attorney, one of the former Commonwealth attorneys of the city of Martinsville, who is now a sitting judge in the city of Martinsville in the General District Court, and also she does judgeship in Patrick County. So they commute back and forth. And so...
I know I'm talking about this area because I'm right here,
Mhm.
but this is a systematical error that's happening all over the state of Virginia. Because we have such a secret society with the judges, the Commonwealth's attorneys. I mean, they have no problems meeting in the back room and making these decisions. And I went into the circuit court to look at some documents. And I thought, this being a small town, I wouldn't have a problem carrying my phone in.
Mhm.
Even y'all don't allow phones. We carry a phone when we get on a plane, but we can't carry a phone into a courtroom. That's how afraid our judges are of actually being held accountable for their acts and actions in a courtroom.
A lot of that's based on... Let's just go back a little bit.
Okay,
in
sorry.
Henry County Circuit Court, as a reporter, I took a camera into the foyer, and they had the Commonwealth attorney and an informant that got off the elevator. I didn't have the camera on. The reason I took my camera in because it was raining.
Right.
And any courthouse I've been into, even a federal courthouse, they allow you to come, not in the courtroom, but they allow you to come out to the foyer or in the building. They don't even allow them in the building. And
No, they don't allow them in the building in the city of Valley. There isn't a federal court I've ever been in that allows a phone. They may have like a place for you to put it,
Yeah.
or they'll say you have to leave it out in the car.
Well, this is really before the big phone picture issue. But Henry County, what they did there, they said they're not allowing them in because they don't want any type of video or audio. They were afraid that I had that camera in there and that I got audio of that conversation between the informant and the Commonwealth attorney, which I did not. I just brought my camera in, set it down. They wanted to get wet. So I know where that, and it's after that the sign went up.
Well, when you look at it, the federal courts have had this for a while,
Yeah.
and now it's trickled down to the state courts. And there's always an order signed by the judges, especially the chief judge,
That's right.
stating that they're not allowed in.
That's right.
And it's a real problem because we're paying their salaries. We're paying for those buildings. This is our property. This isn't their property. And to deny us any access to actually hold them accountable, now you can pay for the transcripts, but in Virginia, you have to pay heavily for the transcripts.
Oh, absolutely.
Now, in Maryland, every case gets a transcript. Every case gets recorded. And you can buy, I think don't hold me to this, but the CD to hear the case is anywhere from $15 to $20. And then to get it transcribed, it's a little bit more. But in Virginia, it's usually $1,000.
Oh, yeah.
And especially Northern Virginia. I know
Now, we're
their
talking
price
about
is
court of
better.
record, the circuit court level.
We're talking about that you've got somebody in there,
Stenographer.
a stenographer, yeah.
Yeah, well, see,
Transcribing
we
it.
don't have that in the, except in the circuit court. That's the only court of record. General district court's not a
Okay.
court of record. But the law does allow attorney to ask, can he bring in a recorder and record the proceedings? And normally they do that. They allow them to do that. So it does give them some court of record in itself to say,
Right.
if someone gets up there and perjures themselves, they've got it on tape. So
Right.
that they do allow attorneys to do that. But you as an individual, forget it.
Oh, I know.
You don't even think you're going to get through the door. But I know what
Right.
you're saying. We're going to get into that in a minute, but there's two
Okay.
things I want to get through real quickly. And we just got so much to cover tonight, folks, you wouldn't believe it. First of all, the Second Amendment.
Yeah. Take our guns.
Yeah, how do you feel about that?
I am wholeheartedly Second Amendment. And I believe that anymore the way our government has turned on us, that we may one day have to protect ourselves from our government. When you look at what's happening in China, when you think about it, I was jailed for 22 days, 14 days solitary confinement. Now, my belief is that was so Senator Mark Warner could get reelected. And if you look at all the dates and everything, it shows. And I have a video of me actually asking Senator Mark Warner about it in front of a group of people, because I had privately asked him several times. So we are no better than China, because at the same time a woman got jailed for disclosing government corruption in China. And I've been following her case. Now, she's still in jail, so you could say, well, you're 22 days, she was 6 years she got sentenced to. But what's the difference? If you're going to do it, it's only going to get worse. It's a slippery slope of where, when they want to silence us, they throw you in there and they throw away the key.
One thing I want folks to get access to the internet, Google this. Bill Stanley, Senator Stanley in the state of Virginia, he gave an awesome speech before the General Assembly on the Second Amendment right that I think is the best speech I've ever seen on it. And that was right before, the day before they had the rally there in Richmond. He has since then given another speech, and that was yesterday, I believe, and that has to do with this red flag law. And you really got to see that to understand what that's all about. He puts that so much in perspective, so clearly. I don't care if you're a Democrat or a Republican or an independent or an idiot. He puts it right where it is, and he makes it plain and clear. You've got to see that to understand what we're talking about. And this affects all of us.
It does.
Every
It
one of
does.
us. All right, we're going to move on real quickly. One other thing.
Can I ask you one question,
Yeah.
though, on the red flag one? Isn't that where somebody calls and reports you,
That's right.
and they don't have to have any evidence? They can just
No.
make the phone call?
No, they have, there's two portions to that, and one of them has passed the General Assembly in Virginia, by the way. They got another half they're getting ready to pass, and that's Bill Stanley. He is, blown out of sight. But basically what they're saying is, there's three elements to it to where if you've been adjudged with mental disorder, and you're judged that you're a threat to yourself, your family, or society. And the third one is, I think it has to do with a criminal record, and the police get notified. They can go in with or without a search warrant and seize your
Okay.
weapons. We got to take a break, folks. We'll be right back. Stay with us.